Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we are part of the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop. It's a celebration of card making video tutorials created by a group of talented crafters of all different styles and levels. We're coming together over the next 5 days to give our viewers a chance to discover amazing card makers and to help each other grow in our channels. All you have to do is watch, like the video, and consider subscribing. And click the link in the video's description below to hop to the next video. Let yourself be inspired. Don't forget to comment because we have tons of prizes to give away. Please indicate if you're located in the USA or if you're international so that prizes can be awarded appropriately, as some prizes, not all, have restrictions on them. Don't forget to check back every day this week since there are five themed days of video hops. You never know when you'll discover your next favorite YouTuber. So, thank you guys, and let's get started. So today's videos, we're focusing on techniques, and I'm using this Brutus Monroe stamp, and I'm using two different Nuvo embossing powders. The white, I think it's Glacier White, and clear. And I have everything you need to do basically heat embossing. And my heating tool is right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring out our Misty. I already have my stamp placed and the paper in ready to go. And what I'm doing is I'm using some of the Ranger watercolor paper because it's already pre-sized to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just making sure to treat it with the powder tool to make sure that the embossing powder doesn't stick anywhere where we don't want it. So once I have everything set up, I'm just going to ink it up with the Versamark ink, and excuse my pad because it is dirty, but I use a lot of chipboard with mine, so I think if I get a new one, I'll probably still keep this one and just re-ink it so that when I use like the chipboards and stuff, it can stay dirty. Now, the benefit of the Misty tool is that it allows you to be able to ink up more than once and in the same spot without fear of, going wonky or messing it up. And when it's a new stamp, I really love that because sometimes it takes more than one stamping. And so having the Misty tool is really a great benefit. So I'm just going to take, this is the clear embossing powder. Go ahead and cover that so that way it's all ready to go. And I'm not going to heat it right away. I just wanted to get the powder on so that way I can do my second one, which will be the white embossing powder. And basically what we're doing is we're just heating those up. You can use your reverse tweezers. Sometimes if it's big enough, I'll just use my hand and then try and just switch it on to different sizes because it never fails for me. I always wind up getting my tweezers in the powder, which drives me nuts. But all we're going to do is just heat this up. And I find for these large stamps, it's really a better way to do it is to make sure you keep it kind of tilted, because what happens is when you heat emboss it, it goes from like that matte look to a shiny look. Even the clear, the white, they both do the same thing. So you can tell when you've missed a spot by having it on that angle and looking for the whole image should be shiny. And if it's not, then you know you have to go back over it with the heat tool. And we're just going to do the same thing with this one. Now, what the technique that we're doing today is going to be, it's what they call the emboss resist. And so I wanted to show you the difference between if you use white embossing powder and you use the clear. To me, the white embossing powder, even though you're putting it on top of white paper, it pops more and it stands out more with the colors whenever you're doing the like inked backgrounds. And with the clear, it basically is locking in whatever you're getting ready to cover up with the ink. So if it's white paper, it'll be white, but it's not going to be a vibrant white like the embossing powder. So I chose 3 colors of inks. One set is in Catherine Pooler inks, and then the other set in similar shades in the Distress Oxide. So you can see here we have Grass Skirt, All That Jazz, and Grape Crush. And I'm going to take, I want to say this one is the white emboss. I know I have it here. Yeah. So with the Catherine Pooler ones, I use the white and the not the white, the clear embossing ink. And all I'm doing is starting off on the side of the card and using my round blender tool to blend in the colors. And it helps to use your mat and always start off on the side, so that way you get nice, smooth, clean motion. If you start in the center, it will be harder to blend. The one benefit is that I think the distress paper, it's made for that. It's, you know, you're supposed to be able to blend your distress inks and your oxide inks on it. So I find that usually you can get a better blend on that. If you're using the Catherine Pooler inks and you're not getting a good blend, I would either one, try a different paper, or like I said, you know, start off from the edge and start your motion and go with a light hand. But you can see here, it really does blend really well. And then at the end, once you're done putting down all of your ink colors, you take a tissue or a paper towel and you're going to rub it along your embossed image so that that embossing will then start to pop off the page again. And there you go with that one. I like the vibrant colors of her inks, and the sponge, it's so full of ink. I didn't have to tap that hard on it to be able to do it. It turned out really, really pretty. So with the Distress Oxides, I keep my foams on the backs. It works well for my storage container that I created. And that allows me to keep them, you know, with each of the inks that we're using. So for this one, the green, I'm using Twisted Citron. Now the Twisted Citron is a little bit more of a vibrant green than Grass Skirt. Grass Skirt to me is more like a true green, like a grass green almost, I guess. But I really love that citron. It's so bright and fun. And then for the blue, I'm using Peacock Feathers, which I would probably say is my favorite in the blues colors. I probably use this one the most. There's something about it. It's that nice in between, I guess. Not quite cracked pistachio, but, you know, a little bit more than just your broken china. And then for the top, I'm using Wilted Violet. And it really doesn't take long to put this down, and you get a great effect with these colors. And as you blend them, and I'm going to try and hold it up close to the camera for you, but you can see it creates another color where they blend with each other. So the Twisted Citron with the Peacock Feathers, it gives you a different green shade as it blends into, you know, the next color. So I really like how that does that. And the blue, you get like almost a darker blue before it turns into purple. That's why it's so much fun to use these oxides and how they blend so well with each other. And you can see, just wiping at this one, the white is more vibrant. This is the white embossing powder. And sometimes I think the image, depending on how you want your image to pop off, I would suggest using the white embossing powder. Now at this point, I've sprinkled water droplets all over the cards. This is technique number 2. Because with the Distress Oxides, if you sprinkle it with water, let it sit for a little bit, and then take it up with your paper towel, you get this wonderful kind of distressed background, and it just gives it a really neat look. I think that's one of the fun benefits of the Distress Oxides and the regular Distress inks. It really is a fun thing to do, even after you do all that work, like just to, let's wet it up and get it crazy. Now, on the Catherine Puller inks. You can do the same exact thing. It's just going to look a little bit different because this is more, if I'm not mistaken, with her inks, you can watercolor with them, if I'm not mistaken. So it does react with the water and you can pull it back up. Now, there was a big drop at the bottom there. Do you see by the leaf? And it looks like I messed up my paper, right? Wrong. This is what you do. You grab your ink tool, your blending tool. You get a little bit more of the ink on your sponge and you go over it again. And it's like magic, you fixed it. Right? Awesome. I don't add any more splatters, but you get a similar effect. And I really love how both of these turned out. Can you imagine? It probably wouldn't be the same, like, kind of fun resist technique, but even using this color with a gold embossing powder, or I just love embossing. Embossing is probably one of my favorite techniques ever since I started crafting. That is the one that I will never give up doing, and I love, love, love doing it. So for the sentiments, I'm popping it up with some foam, fun foam actually. One side has adhesive on it and one side doesn't. So the side that doesn't, I put it to the actual cardstock, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the adhesive side because I want to make sure it stays pretty secure. Alright, and then the other one, the one that I'm going to put on the Catherine Puller ones, I created a little bit of a, what do you call that? A flag, like a banner end. And we're going to attach the same thing, just a simple happy birthday. But just how pretty is that? And then if you want to take it up a notch because you've done all these splatters on it, grab your Nuvo drops. The ones that are, they dry clear. I think the one I have is, let me read it real quick. The crystal drops. It's morning dew and it dries clear. So what I did was, I kept it in odd numbers and I went around my sentiment and laid these down, right? Because it's going to dry clear. That means whatever it's on top of, that's the color it's going to reflect back at you. And then it makes it look like dewdrops on your flower. Genius. I mean, let me see. How many techniques is that? Emboss, resist. The embossing itself is a technique. The splattering on top of the ink is a technique. And we're using Nuvo drops. I mean, we're just having a ball on this one. So here are the close-ups of all of the techniques that we've done today. You can see all the blending, the splatters up close. This was really a lot of fun. So I just want to remind you guys, as far as the giveaways go for the hop, make sure you leave a comment down below and make sure you put whether you're from the USA or if you're international. So we want to make sure if you win one of the prizes that it definitely gets to you, and that, you know, everything is fair. And if you like the video, I hope that you subscribe. I look forward to seeing you guys with our next videos, and I hope you have fun on the next leg of the hop. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.